I'm here in my haven. Um, I'm going to do some discussion today about meditation. I want to make an introductory video because I've been meditating for over 10 years. However, I have engaged in many different types of meditation, and the meaning associated with meditation for me personally has changed quite a bit. And more recently, I learned Vipassana meditation, which is the only type of meditation that I personally engage with every single day. I spend 2 hours meditating with the Vipassana technique, and it has been absolutely transformational for me. And one of the most important things that I've learned about Vipassana is that it isn't necessarily something that is for everyone. And it's also a technique that it's not going to be taught by every single meditation teacher. And although I want to teach some of the concepts associated with Vipassana, I'm not able actually to teach the full Vipassana technique in its entirety, because in order to learn it, I spent 10 days at a meditation retreat, meditating for 10 hours a day, and that's not really something that it's easy to teach on a video over the internet, and I don't have a retreat space anyway, so that's not really something I'm going to engage in heavily, although I will talk about the techniques. So what I do want to talk about today with meditation is the sitting, the hands, what you're doing with your hands, breathing, and thoughts. So to begin, I am sitting on the ground. I usually do sit on the ground when I meditate, and I'm sitting cross-legged. When you meditate, it's not necessary that you do that. I'm sitting outside in front of a tree. I like to share the energy with the trees when I can. But that's not necessary either. You may choose to sit any way that is comfortable for you to sit for whatever period of time you're dedicating to meditation. Usually, I dedicate a full hour at a time to meditating, which is quite a bit for someone who's never meditated or who is beginning to learn meditation. So as I teach, I will go over a few different techniques, and I will also upload a full 1 hour video of me meditating, but it won't include any audio. It will just be me meditating, because the Vipassana technique is an uninterrupted hour of meditation, and I can't practice it and dictate it, because that would defeat the purpose. So anyway, when you sit, I recommend that you don't lean up against anything. However, if for comfortability, health reasons, you may choose to sit in a chair with a back and rest your back so that you're not in pain. And many people use something called a back jack, even if they sit on the ground, when they're meditating, to offer support to their spine. This is absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong way to meditate, and I truly believe that regardless of what anyone else says. So the comfortability factor is absolutely so important, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to dedicate yourself fully to the meditation. You may choose to sit with your legs out in front of you. You may choose to sit with them crossed. You may choose to sit in a half lotus or in a full lotus. I don't like either one of those positions for a long period of time. I have a lot of hip pain, and anyone who's got pain in their body knows that it's going to be extremely difficult to sit in one position for a dedicated period of time, let alone an entire hour, which is, again, the period of time I'm engaging in meditation. So I've chosen a really comfortable cross-legged position. For me, because I've been meditating for so long, it's really natural for me to sit this way. If you do choose to rest your back against something, please be conscious of the fact that you may become drowsy. It may be difficult for you to stay awake when you're resting like that. And a lot of people actually engage in a sleeping meditation, which I've learned a sleeping meditation, and I can talk more about that and how I learned it. But that's different, and I'm not going to talk about it in this video. So the next thing is your hands. Now, you may or may not be familiar with mudras, and those are positions that you can put your hands in, like putting your thumb and two fingers together. Usually you want your hands to be face up. Now, a lot of times I'll just lay my hands face up on my knees, and I can show you my legs so you can see how I'm sitting. Also, I do use mudras, and there's quite a few, and I by no means have the names of the mudras or their healing benefits memorized, but I'll share a few of the common ones that I tend to engage in. And you can look them up. There's so much information regarding mudras. So your finger and thumb you can put together and hold, you want to do both hands the same. This is a good one, with your hands open. Also, like I said, there's putting the two together. This is a very common meditation mudra that has been used for a long time. And each mudra has health benefits. So there are things that your body gains, and one of the main things that you can gain, even from just having your hands folded like this, is balance in your mind. So if you're not sure what to do with your hands, I would recommend just lay one hand inside of the other and lay them in your lap. Relatively comfortable regardless of how you're sitting, and beneficial in maintaining balance and focus in your mind. I may talk more about mudras if there seems to be interest in that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is breathing, and there are an incredible amount of breathing techniques. In fact, when I started learning meditation and taking a really great interest in it, my main focus of the principle and techniques shared were from Deepak Chopra. And you may or may not have heard of him. He actually does a lot of free meditations with Oprah now. It's a 21-day meditation challenge. You could just Google free meditation challenge with Oprah, and his meditations will come up, and you can sign up and be part of those. He's incredible in guiding meditation. I really enjoy his meditation, and that was my starting point, like I said. So he definitely talks about different methods of breathing, and I personally think that when you begin meditating, it's important to just breathe naturally. So that's what I'm going to be doing in my videos, is advising you not to manipulate your breath, just to allow it to flow naturally. Now, the breathing techniques can serve many benefits, both mentally and physically. They can help with focus. They can help with issues that you have in your body, different things with organs, different mental issues such as anxiety, and you may find at some point that you'd like to engage in some breathing techniques, but I do advise that you separate your breathing techniques from your meditation time. Sorry, there's quite a bit of breeze going on and some sticks snapping. I'm not sure if we're going to have any critters coming out of the woods, because there's woods right behind you. Anyway, so as far as breathing goes, putting a bunch of mental effort into the breathing first is probably going to be more difficult. And I choose the breath as a focus point. So finding the natural flow of your breath as a starting point and as a restarting point can be particularly helpful. Also, the issue of thoughts during meditation, I find that this is the number one reason people say, I can't meditate. I sit down and my brain is full of thoughts. I can't concentrate. Meditation is not for me. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard this. And I understand, some people may not engage with meditation and find it to be therapeutic. However, if you're beginning or you have interest in meditation, I would really like to encourage you not to give up. Even after 5 or 10 times, keep trying, because meditation is not about having a completely empty mind and sitting peacefully for 20 minutes or an hour or whatever amount of time. Meditation is about training your brain. And anytime you choose to train yourself to learn something new, it takes a while. This is not something that you start doing overnight. It sure was not something I started doing overnight. Over the past 10 years, I've had an off and on relationship with meditation. I have been meditating a minimum of 2 hours a day for 6 months. And that's pretty profound. And that's my personal dedication to myself, because this new technique that I learned was absolutely transformational, and I am following as recommended, and the benefits have been unbelievable. However, I always like to remind anyone who's interested that even spending 5 minutes sitting quietly with your eyes closed can be considered meditation. Sitting for 1 minute with your eyes closed can be considered meditation. And that's just because what you're mindfully doing is you're taking a break. You're giving your mind a little vacation, and you're putting some attention on your body. And that is incredibly therapeutic for your mind and for your body. Relaxation is something that you need. That pause, it's like you're hitting the pause button on your brain. And back to the thoughts again. Thoughts are a natural process of the brain. Your brain is constantly taking note of everything that's going on around you and everything that has gone on around you. And in our fast-paced society, our brains are in overdrive. They're giving us reminders. They're bringing up things that we're concerned about or worried about or maybe even afraid about, or things that we need to remember, things that we need to do, because our lifestyles are fast. And the main goal in meditation is just to slow down. And that means accepting, yes, there's going to be thoughts coming into my brain because I've never done meditation before, and that's okay. So if you go into meditation with this type of mindset, you're going to find a lot more success, in my opinion, and in my experience personally. The first times that I sat down to meditate, I don't think I ever had even one moment without a thought in my mind. But as I continued on, I found it more and more period of time longer that I had no thoughts in my mind. And even if you go for a second with no thoughts, it's something, it's progress. And as you learn to slow down, you can also choose to let go of those thoughts. So one of the techniques that I use and have practiced is to think of the thoughts as bubbles. And so each time one comes up, you can just let it float through the top of your head with your intent. And that can be a nice way of just letting those things go. because really, your mind, it's a machine. It's giving you all of the information, but if you don't need it, you can just let go of it and go back to concentrating on breathing. And that breathing point, you'll find, is so natural that once you become aware of your breath, you may find during a stressful situation, just concentrating on the feeling of your chest rising and your chest falling and the air coming in and out of your nose can be extremely calming. So, be forgiving with yourself. This is not about just a blank slate brain and pure bliss inside of your head. This is about a progress. It's about training your brain. So please don't give up. Try it again. Be open-minded and be forgiving with yourself. So many of us are so critical, and as soon as something goes wrong, we just think, no, can't do it. It's not for me. But let's give ourselves a little bit more credit here. Anything that you've learned, you have practiced and you have tried and tried again. I know you have, because that's how learning works. Very few people have this extraordinary ability to just pick something up and run with it right away. Now, if you do, that's wonderful. So back to the thoughts. Another technique that I've learned, it's just kind of something that works for me, is as those thoughts come in, because yes, I still have thoughts coming in, and some days I'm not even able to concentrate throughout the whole meditation. I spend a lot of it redirecting myself back to concentrating on my breath. And it can seem like a wash. It can seem like, wow, I just wasted a whole hour trying to not think. But you didn't waste an hour. I never waste any time. I always consider anything that didn't work out to be a learning experience, and everything in between is therapeutic in some way, because your body is benefiting and your mind is benefiting because you're choosing to do something that is really good for you. Just give yourself time. Meditation is taking time. You take the time to sit quietly. You take the time to appreciate what sitting quietly means. And so when you're sitting quietly and you have that thought come up, you can quickly evaluate, is this an important thought? Do I need it later? You can put it on the shelf. Let's hold on to that for later. Or is this completely unimportant and it's just a byproduct of something that doesn't matter? And then you can just let that one go. Delete that. I don't need it. And as you choose to do that, you're going to find that when the thoughts come up, there's a easy, quick deciphering point where you just go, okay, thank you, I'll pay attention to that later, or nope, we don't need that. Anything that's self-critical, you don't need that. You don't need to be talking to yourself in a negative way. And when these thoughts are coming up during your meditation, your brain kind of freaks out when you try to be quiet and shut down for a minute, because your brain is trained to continually evaluate, analyze, and provide feedback. So, over time, as you get used to spending some quiet time, you're also going to find some clarity in what's happening in your brain, and you're taking control. Meditation gives you the opportunity to say, wait a minute, I'm in control of what's happening inside of my mind and my body. I'm not following something that is being told to me. Yes, I might need to go to the grocery store, or I should check on, the temperature, turn it down in the fridge, or whatever it is. However, make sure that you're taking care of some major things. If you have kids, make sure that they're occupied and they're not going to interrupt your meditation routine. Part of the reason that I'm doing my videos outside is to ensure that there's no interruptions. There's nothing more disconcerting than when you get into a peaceful place and a some big noise comes along, somebody's knocking on the door, somebody's asking questions, the phone's ringing. So do yourself a favor, turn your ringer off. Put yourself in a place where you know that you won't be interrupted for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever amount of time that you choose to dedicate. And by the way, Deepak Chopra has recommended that each person dedicate 1 minute for every year of their life to meditation on a daily basis. And that's just a general recommendation, beneficial for you. So I hope that you find this information helpful. I'm definitely interested in questions and answering more questions about meditation if you have them, and I'm looking forward to meditating with you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. See you soon.